1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Holy cow. I think the computer tells us we're live. I hope that's the case because it's been a little while since we've been here. I kind of forgot what to do.
I bet you did.
What do we do on here on Wednesday evenings? Something.
Well, you figured it out, I think.
I figured out how to press the play button. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a while. It has been 3 weeks because we missed the last 2 weeks because of Aquashella and various traveling that we did. So, yeah, it's been 3 weeks since we've been here. We're really glad to be back. So it's definitely been looking forward to this night for a while because it's been a little while. So hopefully you guys had things to do while we were gone. And hopefully now you've had like a couple, 2-3 weeks where you could be writing down your questions. And we're going to get to a bunch of them today. All right, that's the whole idea. We'll talk a little bit about the Aquashella adventure, but we won't spend a ton of time on it. Things that we've done so far since this week has begun. Let's see, Monday was the Aquashella video. I put that out. So it was a little late because, like I said, we were in Dallas and then in Galveston. After we went to Dallas, we stopped there for a few days just to kind of hang out and see the beach and enjoy not 106-degree weather or whatever it was on the way down.
It was cooler.
Yeah, it was cooler, but
extremely
humid.
Yeah, just like at home.
Yeah. So Monday we did the Aquashella video, or I did one. Today on your channel, the Smallscape, you did some things. There was a big event that happened this past week, and what did you highlight on your video?
Today's video?
Today's video, yeah.
Well, my tank, I came back. Invariably, when you go anywhere, when you come back, something's going to happen, right?
Yeah, that's usually the case.
Generally, something will surprise you. So, yes, I have a tank that I set up with the help of somebody, and I just love it. You ever set up a tank?
Who is that somebody?
My twin sister Dee Dee, and she is not a fish keeper. She doesn't have any tanks, but she did a bang-up job taking care of every little single living thing at our house for like forever, for like 10 days.
10 days. She got a crash course in how to care for a fish room basically the night before we left. And I said, okay, here's how you feed the fish. And oh, by the way, watch out if any filters are stopping and just call us if you see anything wrong, and always look for, any fish that might have kicked the bucket while we were gone. So she had a lot to do for the first time ever really seriously taking care of the fish room, and she got into it. I mean, some of you are like, I learned how to fish keep with one tank. She learned how to fish keep with 80, and she did a fantastic job. So, and now she aquascaped her first tank. Well, it was your tank, but she did it all on her own. And that was the video that you put on your channel, the Smallscape, today.
She picked all the plants and everything. So if you're curious what an absolute beginner does with a tank, check it out.
Check it out, yeah. Tomorrow we'll have the members video. I haven't done one of those in a couple weeks. Sorry about that. Again, we've been away. Friday, I have what I think is going to be, I think that's going to be Friday's video, a really cool place we went to while we were in the Texas area. I'm not going to say any more about it, but I think you're going to really enjoy it. So that's going to be on Friday. And then Saturday, I'm sure you'll have something fun and interesting for us on your channel as well.
Heck yeah. I've got a number of really fun Saturday videos coming up.
So yeah, that's what's happening in the land of videos, in the land of us traveling. The swap season starts like full on, September. So this month there are no swaps in our area, so we're kind of taking a breather. We're getting fish back in. I'm starting to look at what fish are breeding in the fish room. But September, we start both the GCCA, Greater Chicago Cichlid Association, and the Greenwater Aquarius Society swaps. Those will be coming up at the end of September. And of course, October, I believe it is 8th and 9th, we've got Aquashella Chicago. So for those of you who are in the Midwest, or it really doesn't matter, anywhere, if you missed Dallas, you're like, oh man, I can't believe I did that. Trust me, A, it was awesome. And B, you've got another opportunity in 51 days, I believe it is. And that opportunity is to hang out and go to Chicago for the Aquashella there. I will say with, just kind of recapping, and I'm sure again, we're not going to spend a ton of time on here because it's been a little bit late. Aquashella happened a week and a half ago. But it was definitely the busiest Aquashella I've been a part of.
Oh my goodness.
I've never missed one since 2018 when they first started. And Saturday for sure was like shoulder to shoulder, and it was very, very, very packed, which was really nice to see. Got to meet so many of you, and if you stopped by the booth and said hello, thank you so much. And if you didn't, I'm still glad you were there if you were there. But if you get a chance to next time, and we didn't get a chance to meet, hopefully that will be the next time. So it was pretty awesome. Do you have like a favorite thing at Aquashella? I mean, all right, so let's just right off the bat, meeting you is the best thing. So we're going to assume that is the best thing. We've said it a million times. That's the only reason we go, is to meet you. If you weren't there, there'd be no reason to go.
Yeah, you guys are like superstars. Yep. So we can match like names and faces. It's like the coolest thing ever.
So what was your favorite thing at Aquashella, like that Aquashella offered?
I can't name a single favorite. There's no way. Like the Owaza booth is always my all-time favorite, and I will be having a video dedicated to the awesomeness of Owaza. The booth really upped their game in very, very unique ways that applied to moi, and I will be sharing that because yummy. And then we did get a number of gifts, which was, oh my gosh, so much fun. We got chocolate. It's not all still here anymore, if you know what I mean.
No, a lot of it's missing.
And little baby, it's a tradition. Baby Anubias.
Okay, yeah.
From my friend. She brings me baby Anubias every year, and the second year. And even baby Java Fern.
Yep. Now I was trying to move out of the way because the other thing. Hold on, let's see which way is the best way to go. So right over my shoulder over here.
You gotta pull it up. You gotta grab that one. I'm gonna grab this one.
Okay.
It's from Second Floor Aquatics. Friends Shannon and Ryan.
So check. Well, how come I'm grabbing the one that you got and then?
I know, because they work better like bookends.
So hold them up.
Okay.
So check these out. Isn't this cool? So they're painted rocks, and these have the green neons. This is yours. It says the Smallscape on there.
It's even sparkly. You can't tell, but she sparkled them for me because that's what they do.
It's sparkly.
And Anubias.
Oh yeah, and the
Shannon
Anubias.
Put Anubias because I love Anubias.
Yep. So how cool is that? And then that one that looks like Roger.
It does look like Roger.
Roger was
the coolest.
Midas cichlid. And his beloved wife is still with us in the fish room.
Ruby.
So Ruby, but thank you so much for that. That was really cool. Those unique types of things.
And I still have rocks from Shannon that she brought us last year that I'm waiting for a very special project.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Definitely one of my favorite. Well, my favorite thing about Aquashella, again, besides meeting you guys, because that's a given. That's my favorite thing. But in terms of what Aquashella had to offer, there was by far the largest number of really well done aquascapes this year at Dallas. And it's going to be tough to top that, because not only did you have the Owaza booth, which is always like a centerpiece, there was the fish gallery, which they really did a good job. So fish gallery, normally, if you go through the old videos of Aquashella, they've got that really cool large cylindrical tank, which is always wonderful. This year they put in some blind cave fish. But they had somebody come out, I believe he was from Poland, and now for the life of me I can't remember his name. But he aquascaped like 4 different tanks, and at first I missed the other 3. I only saw the main one, and the main one was insane. And then I looked at the other ones. I happened to be walking around the booth. I'm like, wait, what are all of these? Because I saw people staring at the backs of the wall. I'm like, why are people just staring there? Well, there's more tanks over there. So that was really cool. Of course, now they have 2 separate competitions. They have the big aquascaping thing, which you were part of, and then you have the aquascaping competition that the creators do, which all really came out quite well. And just the number of booths that were there, whether it was I believe it was CCAM, Carib Sea, which I forgot to do the Carib Sea booth again.
I got some footage.
Did you? Well, I wish I would have known that before I posted the video.
Yeah, that's a video I'm going to do.
So, there was a lot of aquascape tanks there and a ton of fish for sale, probably more fish for sale than I've seen in a while. And I would venture to guess, when Aquashella first started in 2018, I would say the first one was probably 60-40, maybe even 65-35 saltwater to freshwater. That ratio for us is awesome now because it's completely flipped around. At least I think it has been. Ooh. Because it was probably at least 60%, maybe 2/3 freshwater. And to me, that's awesome because that's where my interest lies. Not that saltwater is bad or anything. I think it's cool, but that was really quite cool. The other thing that they did, and this was the first time they'd ever done it, just for those of you who are thinking about purchasing tickets, and I don't know if they're going to do it again, so I don't want to say that this is going to happen every time. But what happened in Dallas is Friday night, we had for the VIP ticket holders, we had a special little get together. So the creators were there and then the VIP ticket holders. It was really kind of nice because when you go to the regular Aquashella, you've got people lined up and it's very noisy, it's very crowded. And I know that we feel pressure to try to meet everybody. And I know people, when they come up to the booth, they're like, oh, there's a line behind us or something. And so maybe they don't want to spend as much time there as they would like to. But that Friday night thing was awesome because it was a little bit more intimate, or in the sense that it was just the creators and the VIP ticket holders who chose to show up. And there were still quite a number of people there, but we got to have dinner and we got to eat together and just sit with people who watch the channel. And that was really cool. So I hope they do it again. I really do, because that would be, hold on, what is going on here? That would be an awesome thing. Hold on, stuff is popping up on the computer. So let me just take care of that because it's interfering with my whole thing. So that was pretty awesome. Now, you want to talk about something else, maybe something that you're wearing?
Yes. For all of those who have requested the pink shirts, yes, the pink shirts are here. However, we did bring them first to Aquashella, just when they showed up. So we brought everything to Aquashella. I had no idea they would sell so well quickly there. So there's very limited inventory on the website. It's all ready to go. I only have one picture there so far because I wanted to get it up. But yes, pink shirts, the blue try on pink shirts. Think pink.
There you go.
There you go.
So for those of you who've been asking, and I know a number of you have been asking, when are you going to get a different color besides the black shirt? Well, there it is. There's the pink shirts for everybody who asked. They're on the website, primetimeaquatics.com. The other interesting thing, I forgot to mention this, is we were involved in the large tank aquascape, and I got to assist.
You did, briefly.
I basically just poured the substrate in, and after you got...
You poured in the substrate, the aqua soil, the base.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I didn't really pour any in the
Which is really,
sand. Really
fun when you normally don't deal with that size tank, and you absolutely have to use the double so you can get the slope. And it was... That's what happens when you ask a nanoscaper to scape a 50-gallon tank.
Yeah.
But boy, did some of those turn out beautiful. Man.
They sure did. Yeah, the first 1, 2, 3 places were awesome.
Grant Shelby.
Yeah, they brung it.
Grant, are you here?
Yeah.
I think I saw Grant's name.
So wait, hold on before I forget. Jerry's Fish Room, thank you so much for the super chat. Blind Fish Keeper is dealing with anchor worm, treated with salt and getting meds. Will they fall off the fish or do they have to be removed? I have never dealt with anchorworms. I'm sorry.
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a great question. So if somebody has dealt with that before, if they're going to fall off or will they have to be removed, I have not dealt with them. So usually what the salt's going to do is it's going to increase the mucus coat. I mean, that's what it's going to do. It's going to increase the mucus coat on the fish. That's why one of the reasons why you use salt. And then the question is going to be, will they be able to hold on with all that extra mucus? I don't know because I haven't treated it before. So wish I had a better answer for you. Yeah. Yeah, right. And then we've got John here. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks for the pics at Aquashella. Let's see here. JM Fish Room here. Going to a closed loop air system, but I don't need a big pump. 600 gallons total in volume. Ideas. So that's a good question. Here's what I would do. When I set up my air system, I didn't know what to do. So I went to gemco.com and I asked them because they sell lots of air pumps. And I basically asked them, okay, what do I need here? They started asking me a lot of questions. They're going to ask you questions like, how many tanks? Because you've got 600 gallons, but how many tanks? How deep are those tanks? Where are they situated? How far apart are they from one another? How far away from the air pump are they going to be? And I know don't get scared. They're going to help you. But they're going to ask you these questions. How far down from your PVC to the sponge filters? How much line are you going to have to draw from your closed loop? So the closed loop is definitely the way to go. In terms of what size pump you're going to need, those are the factors. And once you answer all those questions, and then they're going to want to know, okay, what's the likelihood that you are going to, at some point, increase the number of tanks? I did that. So when I first called them and I gave them the specs of my fish room, I gave them the dimensions of the room, I told them everything. They said, okay, here, you need I think it was like the LPH 45, something like that. And that worked out really well for a while until I added basically another wall of tanks, and I started losing pressure in my 150. My 150 is kind of like the bellwether tank. I know if my air system, if something is up, the sponge filters in it's a tall 150. It's only 4 feet wide or 4 feet long, but it's like 30 inches tall. I started losing air there, so I knew I had to go up, and so I went with the LPH 60. I still have the 45 as a backup in case something ever goes wrong. I can always shut off some of the sponge filters that are in some of the tanks where there's 2 or 3 in a tank. The point is, go to them. Go to gemco.com. Not sponsored by them, and you're going to have to call. They're old school, so for the most part, you're going to have to call them. They're going to walk you through that process because there's a lot. There's more than you might think, and they offer the customer service. I absolutely love that company. Again, we're not sponsored by them. They've never given us anything free, never given us a dime. They are a rare company in that they do customer service the right way. Jay Oliver, thanks for being here. Been a member for 10 months. Gosh, it doesn't seem that long, but thank you. Hey, Fish family, I hope everyone is doing well and staying healthy. As always, it is great getting to hang out with you guys. It's great getting to hang out with you too. John's one of those guys. He's a doer. So at Aquashella, there are people who come up with ideas, which is basically all the people who are part of the Aquashella planning committee for the booth, the creator booth. I'm part of that. John is part of that from KG Tropicals. James from Fish Room Fever, I saw him there. Chattanooga Ed, Carrie, and Jesse from Science Scale Aquatics. I tend to get very busy while at the Aquashellas, and so I feel bad because I come up with ideas, but I don't get to necessarily execute on the ideas. Yes, I do help with the booth setup a little bit on Friday, but I can tell you this: it's guys like John, certainly Carrie and Jesse. Ed, Chattanooga Ed, James, they're doing so much there. I know I'm leaving out a couple people, but they are doers. Kasha from Creative Pet Keeping, she's part of it as well. So like all the banners and stuff, they do so much to make sure that booth is up and running. Jesse from Science Scale,
yeah.
He basically sat there for 2 straight days doing nothing but making sure that live stream ran and that people had questions. And there's so much work that goes into that. And I really, really appreciate everybody who does that because the creator booth does not run without them. It just simply doesn't. We would just be standing there and there'd be absolutely nothing to see. Chattanooga Ed made, so for those of you who played the cornhole game, we call it bags here in the Chicagoland area. He made all that stuff. He made the bags. He made
I didn't know that he made
he
wasn't even
that.
there to appreciate the fun that everybody was having.
Yep. So, yeah, it was
Chicago.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. Somebody asked, are we going to be in Chicago? Yes, that is the plan because
it's our home turf.
Yeah, I mean, we drive to Orlando and we drive to Dallas, but
we'll drive to Chicago.
That's a multi-day. Too. We're gonna pack up the car and drive that 30 minutes to
family truckster.
Schaumburg, whatever that is, the Schaumburg Convention Center. I don't think that's what it's called, but it's in Schaumburg, which is like a half hour from us. So yeah, we'll be there.
Hey, Jay Oliver, you going?
That would be a long trip for him.
Well, you've gone before.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope so.
All right.
Let's see here. Sean, member for 21 months. That's cool. Hey, guys, glad you all had a great trip. Upgrading one of my tanks from a 55-gallon to a 90-gallon. Got built a stand for it. It will be the second largest tank. That's really cool. Love you all. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, the 90s are interesting because they're the same length and width as a 75, but they're taller than the 75s. A lot of options there. A lot of stocking options. That's cool. Very nice. Enjoy it. All right. Oh, my gosh. Delta Charlie. Hey, I saw your earlier comment. Let's see. Yes, good. So thank you for being a member for the last 17 months. How do Canadians here treat ick? I have green neons, but also some coolie loaches, mystery snails, and anubias in the tank. LFS says API ick cure plus salt. Let's see here. So, yeah, you've got a significant problem there in Canada because they basically don't allow you to have any of the fish meds. So that means probably you're not going to be able to get your hands on ICX, no Copper Safe. Those are my 2 go-tos. If the API, the API IC Cure or whatever that is, I think you'd mentioned that before in your comment, is what you have. That's basically what you have. I know that Fritz has I think it's a Fix Ick. That might be something that is sold in Canada as well. Again, I've never used that product, so I don't know if I don't know if it's sold in Canada, and B, I don't know how it works. But there are the natural remedies. They kind of smell like black licorice, but they're not edible. So please don't put that anywhere near your face. The salt you got to be careful about, right? Because you've got plants and you have the coolie loaches and the mystery snail. So if I'm doing salt in that tank, I don't know if I would push it much further than 1 tablespoon per 10, maybe 8 gallons if you're feeling adventurous. And then use the ick treatments that you've got. Temperatures are obviously something that you can work with. Again, with your plants, Anubias tends to hold up fairly well with higher temperatures. I don't know what else you have in there besides if you've got green neons, the coolies, the mystery snails. You could still try to kick the temperatures up into the low 80s. Unfortunately, that's not going to be high enough to kill the ick, right, to destroy it, but it will speed up their life cycle significantly so that hopefully the ick meds, I say meds, but it's usually those non-med treatments. Maybe they'll work a little bit better, but yeah, usually to actually raise the temperatures and get to the point where the ick is going to be inversely impacted or reversely impacted, you're looking at mid 80s, and I don't know if you want to push it quite that high. So, and then when you do temperature, do it slowly. Don't just and I'm sure you know this, but don't just crank up the temps to like, oh, it's at 76 here, let me crank it up to 85. Do it slowly over the next couple days. So, yeah, that would be my advice. Yes.
Just making sure. Ryan and Shannon, Second Floor Aquatics. You see them? Do you see them? I don't know if you can join this later.
Right now, there we go. I'm all.
They're flanking our tanks right back here. They look amazing. We already showed them off. So if you missed it, or if you didn't, anyways, we just love them.
They're cool.
There was one I wanted to get. Kiwi. It was from Kiwi.
Okay.
Kiwi mango. All right. I just got to 0 nitrite after having 5 parts per million from doing water changes and adding stability. Can I stop water changes and still add CChem stability? Will it not go up again?
A cycle tank is an interesting thing. And it depends on how you're cycling the tank. If you've got no fish in there and you add fish, you could get a spike again. If you've already got fish in there and you're not going to add any more for a while, then yes, maybe you can back off the chemicals. I don't like to add, when I'm cycling a tank, I don't add any chemicals other than the Fritzime 7 and water conditioner when I'm doing a water change. But ideally, when cycling a tank, do a fishless cycle, put in some live plants if you can. Use the Fritzime 7. You can add in a very small number of fish once you do that. So typically what that means for us is maybe I've added in 1 or 2 or 3 in a 10-gallon or something. Add in the Fritzime 7, let that stabilize, make sure I'm not getting any ammonia or nitrite. And we haven't ever at this point. We've used this process probably 25 or 30 times. So is it possible to get nitrite spike again? Yes, if there's no fish in there and you add fish. But that's why I always add the live beneficial bacteria. So, and I don't remember, is the CChem stability, is that the live beneficial bacteria? I think it might be. And if that's the case, then yeah, you're probably okay. Sure. David, thank you so much for the super chat. I have a question about black tetra not eating. Okay. So that stinks. I'm sorry that's happened. If it's all right, so I guess thing number 1 is if the rest of your fish are eating, that's actually a good sign. So that means it's just confined to that one fish. 2, is the fish been with you a long time, or is it something you got brand new and it's not eating and it's only been a day or 2? Because that's normal. That can happen where you buy fish and they're just not ready to eat yet. So if that's the case, give it a couple more days and hopefully it starts to eat. Another thing is just make sure it's not being bullied and it's not afraid to come out and eat. If it was previously eating and you haven't added anything new, then most likely it's not an internal parasite. But if you started adding new fish to the tank and now you're starting to see that fish not eating, and next thing you know, a couple days later, another fish isn't eating, that could indicate some type of internal parasite, in which case you're going to want to use, usually for us, levamisole is probably the best at that. Metronidazole works well. For fish that have internal parasites, ideally the medicated flakes, like we have in our fish room, medicated metronidazole flakes, because when you just put the stuff in the water, it doesn't work as well as when they can actually eat it, but the fish isn't eating, so that's not going to be extremely helpful. And yeah, you're gonna have to keep an eye on it. So hopefully one of those things works. The other thing too is you can consider trying to give the fish something that's more enticing. For me, it's frozen bloodworms. If the fish is not eating and I put some frozen bloodworms in that tank and the fish is still not eating, then I know something's wrong with it, because it's not just the food. Because almost every fish I've ever had will go after frozen bloodworms. They're like, I don't want to eat anything you've given me. Oh, those things look delicious. So hope that helps. What you got over there in the land of phone world?
Well, another stocking question. I do like stocking questions.
Okay.
All right. Another AZN guy. Okay, I think I got that right. Any ideas for a 75-gallon tank already stocked with 2 bristlenose, 2 dwarf gourami, 1 gold gourami, 11 guppies? Could I go smaller fish like galaxy rasboras, or would they be too small?
Yes, for the gold gourami, they'd be too small. I would be very, 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 very careful with those 3 gouramis you got in that 75. I've done that. I think I did that exact combo. In fact, I know I did in a 75 when we first got that one back up and running. And it worked out very poorly for me. I'm not saying it will for you, but what wound up happening is the gold gourami terrorized the dwarfs. I moved the gold gourami into our 150, and then one of the dwarfs terrorized the other one, and then I had to move that one out into a separate tank as well. So just watch that combo. Often, especially the gold, so you've got the golds, the blues, and the opalines. They'll have the same similar body shape. They've got the same style, body size. They tend to get very aggressive as they get older. We have a very, very old opaline gourami in the 150, and that thing is all like,
He's a
really old.
man.
Yeah, now he's using like the feelers as like little water crutches and canes and stuff.
But he keeps chugging along every day.
Still, even with that thing basically like, looking like just kind of swimming around, every time the lights go on, he's chasing the geophagus. He's chasing the frontosa. Nothing big, but he just wakes up.
Goofball.
Wakes up angry, chases them around for a couple minutes, and then he leaves them alone. But they can get pretty aggressive. So the question is, all right, you've got some guppies, you've got those 3 gouramis, you've got the 2 bristlenose, and I want to know about smaller fish. With that gold gourami in there, I'd be a little bit careful. It's not like they go out of their way to eat fish, but any fish that can fit a smaller fish in their mouth, they will sometimes try to do that. In the galaxy rasboras, the emeralds, a lot of those dwarf rasbora type fish are going to be probably too small. I don't think I would chance it. Even with the dwarf gourami, you'd be surprised. I've recommended before where people have guppies and their guppy populations are getting out of control, especially it's like, oh, I got a 29 gallon and my guppy population is getting really crazy. What can I do? Throw a dwarf gourami in there. And it works 50% of the time. It works 90% of the time. So yeah, the dwarfs will eat smaller fish, and sometimes those smaller rasboras they can go missing. I don't know if I'd go much smaller than like an Endler size fish. So there's still some rasboras that will allow you to do that, but not those ones.
All right, another stock. Actually, this is not stocking. This is from Tom at Grow and Clip Bonsai for Seniors. Hey, Tom. Any idea? Guppy pleco tank. Guppies died, and 30 baby plecos died. Adult
30.
and juveniles strong. Tank 3 years old and no problem till now.
So the guppies and the bristlenose died.
Baby plecos.
Yeah. I wonder how far apart that happened. Were the guppies in that tank? Was that like a dual breeding guppy bristlenose tank? 'Cause that's actually a pretty decent combination. So if you didn't add anything new, my question is, I wonder how quickly that happened. Like, did it happen where, for whatever reason, you had a couple guppies die and a few more guppies, and all of a sudden there might have been some water quality issues that maybe like, oh wow, there's something going on there, and then all of a sudden the baby plecos just couldn't handle that water quality issue, and so it sets off a cascade. We've had that happen in our fish room too,
after a storm.
Yeah. Like a water change. Did you do a water change and something happens? That's happened before, where we've had a big issue. I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot about that. Where we did a water change and all of a sudden we had like 3 or 4 tanks where a fair number of fish were dead, and one of them was a bristlenose tank, and they weren't babies, they were juveniles, but they didn't make it. So if you didn't add anything new, I wonder if maybe it was something in the water, or if it was just, one died and then it just set up that cascade. Whip, thank you so much for the super chat.
Whip.
He's a first-time super chatter, long-time listener. Just wanted to say thanks for all you do for us and for answering my silly Graham questions. Glad you're here. Thanks for being here.
Anything for you, Whip.
Yep. The Zen Ginger has been a member for the last 6 months. Thank you very much. I have hair algae in Java moss. Should I continue trying to remove with a toothbrush or cut the whole clump out and call it a loss? Java moss, yeah, good luck, man.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I've had that happen too. So I'm looking, I'm like,
yeah,
it happens where the green hair algae gets caught up in the Java moss. You're like, I can't even decipher this stuff anymore. If you had, like in that tank, a lot, and I mean a lot of like Neocaridina shrimp, they might put a dent in, or a mono shrimp. They would probably put a dent in it, and then you would be like, oh, okay, it's going away. I'm back to having just Java moss there. So if you have a situation where that's possible, you could try that. If you've got a tank where you could add some Florida flagfish, keeping in mind those little Florida flagfish can be somewhat assertive. So it's not necessarily a fish I'd put in with a bunch of guppies or endlers, or like really like, hey guys, I'm just a really nice laid back fish. And then you put the little Florida flagfish in there, like, wow, they really kind of bullied everything else. Those will eat the green hair algae really, really well. So those are options. Short of that, I just get rid of the clump, because trust me, I've tried to deal with it and it doesn't work out all that well. Wendy, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you being here. Glad you're hanging with us. Glad everybody's back.
Wendy,
Lynn's here.
Wendy, you're going to Chicago, aren't you? You went last year.
Yep. Oink is here. So we got some moderators. Oink and Lynn and Wendy is here, and Dave from Iowa is here.
Dave,
and I saw Daryl. I don't know if Daryl, if you're still here, but I saw you. We're here, and I don't know, have you been in a live stream, like at least chatting it up before?
You know
Because
the name.
Daryl is like old school, man. He's been with us for a very, very long time. Like, there are names I recognize from years ago that have been with us a long time. I'm just curious. Do you guys remember what like subscriber count we were at when you first subscribed to our channel and started following us? Because I remember very specifically, like Flip Aquatics, he was at like 5,000. I subscribed to Corey from Aquarium Co-op when he was at like 14,000 subscribers.
I remember that.
KG Tropicals might have been at like 25 or 30,000. So I don't know why, but I remember these things when I subscribed to a channel. I remember when they were just starting. I guess just starting out. Like Joey, I remember he was at like 60 or 70,000.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow,
yeah.
Well, I subscribed to you probably at like 120,000. You were bugging me to subscribe like ever since
this
like
is the
the
abuse.
single digits. I'm like, not yet. I just don't know. I don't know.
This is the abuse I get from my loved ones.
That's right. Just keep trying.
I try. Well, we do have a giveaway to do today, and I think we should talk about that.
Really?
What do you think?
Early?
Yeah, a little bit early, yeah. But first I want to answer Sean here. Thank you so much for the super chat. I have a question. Can I use Turbo Start and Fritzheim 7 at the same time and sealed media from my cycle filters work on my 90 gallon? Absolutely. I would definitely do that. So, yeah, the Turbo Start and the Fritzheim. Well, the Turbo Start and the Fritzheim are basically the same. The Turbo Start is just a more concentrated version of the Fritzheim 7. So, if you don't have fish in there yet, I would just go with the Fritzheim 7. Turbo Start is more like, oh, I've got a problem already sort of thing. But it's not a bad thing to have around. Put that stuff in the fridge and just have it as a backup. But I would just use the Fritzheim 7. Use your water conditioner. Definitely cycle filter media and roll with it. Now, if you're going to be transferring the fish from that 55 into the 90, there we got to be more careful, because there you're going to want to try to get some of those decorations, all the filter media in that 90. Can you use the substrate that was in the 55? Is it something you can transfer over even as a base layer? Because that could cause some things to happen that may not be so great. But if you're just adding new fish, like it's an additional tank, yeah, use Fritzheim 7, use the cycled media, and stock slowly. All right, what are we giving away today? Let me see here. There are 3 things All of these are coming from Flip Aquatics, flipaquatics.com. They are a channel sponsor. We thank them very much for supporting the channel, for giving us stuff to give to you, because that is really cool. If you need nano things, shrimp, nano fish, they are a place to go. We've gotten lots of fish and shrimp from them, and we've been very fortunate, never had any issues whatsoever. So that's a good thing. So what did they give us to give to you? Well, there are 3 things. Thing number 1 is this. Last time we gave these away, people really liked them. So this is the Flipper Pico. So if you've got a small tank, this is a magnetic algae scraper. So if you've got a small tank, the thing here is, like with these tanks behind us, this would be a pretty good one. They have different sizes on their website. And I like these because, A, they're magnetic. You can just kind of leave them up in the corner of the tank, and then you can just give them a little touch up every day. And so you don't get an algae problem, at least on the front of the glass. So this is the first thing. So really great if you've got I've got a 2.5 or a 5 gallon, maybe a 10 gallon, but you get this, and these things are like $15-20, these little ones. So they're definitely pricey.
So what do you call this? An algae scraper?
It's a Flipper algae scraper. The next thing, they also have wood. They actually have quite a bit of wood. They have the little bonsai trees, and they got pictures of all the wood. So so if you get an idea of the size of this piece, it's about, I don't know, it's bigger than a man's hand.
This is 9 inches.
Okay. So
about 11 inches long and about 5 inches tall.
So it might be a good piece just to kind of add to a 10 gallon. It'll float at first unless you boil it out, or you can put it like this. You'd be like, whoa, look at this. Looks like I am going to get you. It might scare the fish if you do it this way.
Oh, right there.
Yeah,
right there. It looks like a pterodactyl.
Yeah. Without the wings. Hello, everybody. So you get the pterodactyl piece of wood. Now, but I saved the best for last. At least I think it is. I've been talking about small tanks. So if you've got a small tank, this is going to last you a very long time. But I wanted this because we use it all the time in our fish room. It is one of the staples that we feed a lot of our fish. And this is a big old jug of the Northfin Bug Pro. I love this stuff. As most of you know, it's no secret, we feed Northfin food. So any prepared food that goes into our tank is Northfin flakes, or it's this stuff here, the Northfin Bug Pro. Again, this is through Flip Aquatics. This is a big old container. It's 500 grams. So it's huge, right? Look at that. Hey man, I'm a big old thing of Bug Pro. So this is great stuff. It's relatively small, so bettas eat it. Your Battis really loves this stuff. So what's cool about this is at first it floats, and then after a couple seconds it starts to sink, but it does so relatively slowly. So for fish that will eat from the top, they're going to be able to do that, but then it will eventually sink. So what I generally feed this to is my bristlenose plecos. They love it. Pretty much any fish, like any live bear, is going to love this stuff. All my loaches, cory cats, pretty much anything that's going to feed from the bottom that is medium to smaller size. Geophagus love to sift through this stuff and grab this as well. So this is a big old thing of it. Now, the way this works, if you've never been part of the giveaway, you have to live in the continental United States, the 48, the lower 48, because we can't ship anywhere else besides that, because that's just how it is right now. And yeah, so that's the deal. Now,
one guest, if Whip's World won already.
No,
Whip has already guessed 47.
No, because you can't
does.
do this until I say the word go. And then when I say go, like right now, you're going to pick a number between 1 and 20. And the first person that picks the number that Joanna has written on the piece of paper is going to win all 3 of those things.
Oh, and make sure that you're...
It's between 1 and 20.
Make sure you're live chat.
Yeah.
Right?
Stop. We already got it.
We do?
Yep, we got it.
So I had to switch to live chat.
I switched to live chat. You can stop typing in numbers right now.
Hold on.
Because I see the number.
You do?
It was between 1 and 20. Yep, it's right here.
Oh, yeah.
You got this one?
Yeah.
Yep. So the winner of all 3 wonderful things is Matthew Doolin. D-U-L-I-N. Is that what it is? Because my eyes get bad. The L's and I's mixed together.
17.
Number 17. So Matthew.
Live chat.
Matthew, what you want to do is you want to send an email to
Primetime Giveaway, singular, at yahoo.com.
Yeah, so Primetime Giveaway, all one thing. Primetime Giveaway at yahoo.com. Send us your
name and address.
And include all the stuff, because sometimes people will send it and then We don't like they accidentally leave out the zip code, or one time we like it was a city or a name. We have to have like a name, someone to ship it to.
Yeah, and I want to be 100% positive it's going to the right place.
Yep. And Matthew Does Stuff was right behind him. He was 2 people behind.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
Yep. So there were some
I just
there were
want to
some
give
guessers.
something to everybody.
Well, don't. So
Everybody.
here's the thing. We're gonna do it again next week. So
Really?
we
2 weeks in a
because
row?
yeah, because we missed the first 2 weeks of August,
That's
and we
right.
always try to do at least 2 giveaways a month.
Cool.
So don't worry if you're like, heavens to Betsy, snap, man, I never win. The nice thing is you're gonna have another chance next week because we've got another giveaway to do. We got to catch up on the giveaways.
Where did that phrase come from? Heavens to Betsy. Who's Betsy?
I don't know. That's a great question. But thanks for sharing. So congratulations to Matthew, and thanks for everybody for playing along. Fish Fan 20 Gallon Long is in the house. Game over. Thank you. And thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. So yeah, let's get back to
Questions.
what? Questions? Oh.
You said let's get back to, and I said questions.
So Cameron, take a look. So just make sure you are in live. That's why we said make sure you're in live chat, not top chat, because top chat is going to, what top chat will do is it will prioritize the chats based on your preferences and what you're reading, and even yourself. It will prioritize your own chats. You've got to be in the live chat setting in order to see the actual order of which things come in. So that's the thing. So yeah, Fishfan 20 Gallon Long, thank you again for the super chat. Thanks for the compliments on my aquarium. Outstanding. Yeah, you've got a cool stuff going on there for sure.
With a cool name, I would expect nothing less.
Whips World. I wasn't listening. Did I win? I won, right? No. Unfortunately, you were in the wrong segment of numbers. But it's okay. You're going to try hard next time, I know. Everybody's just going to give it their all. Francisco's like, 33. That was a good guess, but It's over. All right, let's see here. Let me see. We're scrolling around here.
Well, here's one. From Colby. I'm running the Aquarium Co-op Med Trio on my new coolie loaches, Icax, Meriston, and Paraclens. Should I feed my fish during the treatment? I've heard mixed reviews. Great question.
Yes. Well, hold on. I shouldn't just say yes. Is there anything wrong with them? So if it was just a quarantine thing?
Well, on my new coolie loaches.
Okay, so
assumably there is
nothing
wrong.
And Corey likes to do the Med Trio as just a precaution while in quarantine, which, I mean, people do it both ways. I tend not to treat unless there's an obvious sign of disease. I understand why he does, because he brings in a lot of fish, and you're much higher likelihood of getting something messed up with that, or getting fish disease in. So if they're not sick and you're just running that as a preventative, then I would feed them, but I wouldn't feed them a lot. So maybe once a small meal a day, every couple of days until they're through the treatment. If they're sick and they're not eating at all, then I might feed them a small amount. If they're eating, great. If they're not, then just back off, because what meds are going to do, even if they're being applied properly and appropriately, and your fish are sick, meds are going to stress fish out, regardless of the med, regardless of the reason. Now that stress is usually the lesser of the issue, right? So the disease is the primary problem, and you're using medications to try to treat the disease. But meds, no matter what, are going to cause stress. They're going to cause immune systems to weaken. So if they're eating, fine. If they're not, then just back off. Okay, let's see here. David, thank you so much for the super chat. I just noticed my first batch of white clouds. They were in a 7-gallon by themselves. Concerned about 80 ppm nitrates. Fed Repashy powder today, so that's cool. Yep, Repashy is definitely a Repashy powder is good to feed those little tiny guys. You could also crush up some flake, but the Repashy powder is great. 80 parts per million on the nitrates. If you feel like you can safely do a water change, you could certainly do that. Just try to really match the water temperature and make sure that your pH and GH and KH aren't fluctuating too much. Like if it's one of those things where it's 80 parts per million nitrates, but all you've been doing is top offs for like 6 months, and then you do a water change, that could potentially change something. But if you're doing water changes, I normally do it every 3 weeks or a month because I've got a 7-gallon, that's a planted tank. You could do a water change to bring that down, but also 80 parts per million with white clouds, it's probably not lethal, right? So I did a video on nitrate, and there was some comments about, nitrate is not lethal until you get really high concentrations. And the studies that I reference for the most part show that when it comes to acute life-threatening illness in fish, at least the studies that were done, and a lot of them weren't tropical fish studies, they were more like fish farms and food fish, the lethality of nitrate was really 500, 600, 700 parts per million, sometimes even more. But if fish are constantly exposed to nitrate levels in 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 parts per million, that can certainly shorten lifespan. It can reduce immune strength. So it's something that if you can control it without really messing up, your other water parameters, I would do it. What you
do it. Well, Zen Ginger missed the giveaway because she's teaching her 10-year-old how to vacuum, which I say it's never too young to have them start helping out. And the younger they are, the better they just pitch in.
Yeah, our kids from the time they were able to walk had some type of minor chore to do. Yeah.
Well, that one's walking.
Yeah, that one's walking. Give them a broom and a siphon.
Fluffy socks. They can,
Yeah, it's really great when they're able to do laundry because laundry is my least favorite.
Really,
I'd rather clean the bathroom than do laundry.
Well, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind doing laundry as much if we had like a laundry room. Well.
Oh, we didn't tell that story. Here's a funny side story. It's got absolutely nothing to do with fish, although it has a lot to do with water.
It does.
Monday. All right, so let me set the stage. The boys missed the first 3 days of school last week because we were in Texas. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it was just like, they didn't really miss anything because it was like, tell us about yourself. So they even came back and said, we didn't miss anything. I'm like, I didn't think you would. So Monday morning, it's their first day of school. I am now getting back into the role because today was my first day. So I hear I'm in a dead sleep. And I hear this one over here, my lovely wife, pounding on the bathroom door. Luke, shut off the shower. It's leaking. I'm like, I pop out. I mean, I jumped out of bed. I'm like,
you wandered down the hall like Frankenstein.
She's like, there's water. And I'm like, water, what's leaking? I thought it was something in the fish room. I had no idea what was going on. I thought maybe something downstairs in the fish room had been leaking. So she wanted Luke to get out of the shower to go help fix the situation. No, that would have actually been a good thing compared to what actually happened. So I come stumbling down the hallway. I'm not awake. I got 2 flights of stairs to navigate in my basically sleepiness, and I didn't fall down the stairs.
No, you did good.
I hear running water.
Oh, it's gushing.
I walk into the kitchen and into our laundry area, and I look up at the ceiling. I'm trying to get the fog out of my eyes. I'm like, am I really seeing this? There's a steady stream of water right where there's a light. It's not on. It's just streaming straight down, like just pouring, and it's going all over. We have a dog cage. Well, we've got like a condo. It's like
they were stacked,
little
double
booby.
high.
Yeah, she's got the upper cage, and then Rocky, because he's bigger, has got the lower one. She would jump up there and jump down. Well, the water's going all over these cages. It's going all over the kitchen floor. It's streaming down. Like, where is this coming from? I'm trying to get my bearings straight, and I'm ripping things out of the laundry room. And I'm like, go find buckets or finding buckets and towels.
Which good thing when you're a fish keeper, you have buckets.
Lots of buckets.
You got them upstairs,
and lots
downstairs.
of like towels for cleaning up water. So what wound up happening is the shower head needed to be replaced, and we get a little loose. I think what happened is Luke tried to push it, like to tighten it up so it wasn't like, so it's just the water was not spraying out in a weird way. Well, what wound up happening is I think he pushed it up like this, and the pipe behind the wall cracked, right? The copper pipe. Because when I went back up there, first step was I poured a bucket of water into the drain, and I'm like, is anything leaking down there? No. Okay, well, it's got to be coming from the shower. Was it just that the shower head was doing some weird thing? I turn it back on. She's like, no, shut it off, it's leaking again. I'm like, oh, great. And then I felt the shower head, and I could feel behind the wall that copper pipe, I think it was cracked. So, moral of the story is sometimes you're going to get water in your house. It's got nothing to do with fish. And it was probably a solid, before you caught it, maybe 3 gallons.
Yeah, it was a decent amount.
Down from the upstairs, through the ceiling. And yes, now we get to redo the shower and basically redo the bathroom because that was on our list of things to do anyway. So now it's just forcing our hand.
She's going to do it now.
Yep.
As soon as physically possible. So
back to having kids do chores, that's great. And laundry is my least favorite thing. And now it's even my least favorite because the laundry room is not looking the way it normally does.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
James Nature Aquatics is here.
Cool.
Hey, James.
Glad you're here. Dylan, thank you for being a member for 16 months. That's cool. I've had what looks like, what does that say?
Where?
I can't read it.
I don't know how to pronounce this.
Japonica. On some of my shrimp, I've tried Prezi Pro as directed for 2 weeks, but it's still there. Ideas. Again, I'm not a shrimp person. The person to ask is Rob from Flip Aquatics. He'd have an answer that would make sense instantly. I've never dealt with that issue, so I don't know. I know Prezi Pro is a way to treat it, and you've been doing it for 2 weeks. Other than that, I wish I knew. I wish I could tell you, but shrimp disease is not one of my things that I've had to deal with. So Rob from Flip Aquatics is
the man.
Is definitely someone that you could ask. He would know. Killer Kitty 08.
Killer
What's
Kitty
up?
08, hey.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you both for sharing the knowledge and joy of the hobby. Also, I got an Anubias to flower. I was so excited and thought I had to tell Joanna.
So exciting. Take pictures.
I'm not going to lie.
Keep pictures.
A flowering Anubias to me means 2 things.
Yeah.
One, I get almost excited about that as I do when fish breed. I don't know why, because I just feel it's such a rare thing. At least in our fish room, we don't do CO2. And I'm like, wow, look at that happy plant. The second thing, and this is weird, I turn around and I look for an alternate me. Because those flowering Anubiases remind me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And I am fully expecting to see Donald Sutherland going, like that. And I'm going to see a person behind me that looks like me going out of the pod.
Okay.
It's a great movie. If you've never seen it, but I don't like the really, really old one. Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland, and I don't remember who else was in it. It was creepy. I watched it as a kid, and then it kept me up for weeks on end because I'm like, is there a pod under my bed? So it's cool, but also kind of creepy. Jerry's Fish Room's been a member for a year. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Appreciate it.
Hey, wait, Queen of Reef is here.
What? Queen of Reef is here?
Wait, what are you doing on the freshwater cool side of town?
Yeah,
you're on the cool side. Yep. You go back on the Jersey side.
Mm-hmm. Queen of Reef is all like a lawyer now and everything. I'm so proud of her. I remember back when you were like, I'm not done yet. I've still got a while to go. And now she's graduated and she's all grown up. She's right like here in the heart.
Daughter we never had.
I know.
Just like Kasha, we have a lot of kids.
Yeah, we have a lot of.
We're old.
Yeah.
There was a question that I saw way back when. Victoria, are you still here? She had a question. She wanted to split up her group of 10 angels. Let me see if I get this right. You were thinking of splitting them up. What would be the number that you would suggest? Did I get that right?
So, yeah.
Probably depends on tank size.
It depends on the tank size. You might be better off, and anything less than a 4 foot or less, maybe just split them up into 2 groups of 5. Excuse me, you're probably going to get at least 2 or 3 pairs. And then just know you're going to have to be fluid and flexible in terms of if you've got more than 1 pair in a larger tank, are they going to coexist? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Does that mean if you get more than 1 pair in a tank, you have to remove a pair and then sell them off? But if those are the angels from Aquashella that you had, those are really pretty. So I would try to keep as many of them as you can. But maybe just start them off in 2 groups of 5. But again, this isn't going to work, at least with multiple pairs in anything less than a 4 foot tank. Probably larger the better. And then if you get, if you have a tank where it's like, I just wound up with 3 females, they might be fine together. So, but definitely try to hang on to them. Austin, thank you so much for the super chat. Amazing content, learning a lot from the channel, starting at 125, and love the cichlids. Any recommendations or advice? Oh, you've got a 125. That's an awesome tank. You've got a lot of options there. It just depends on which direction you want to go. It really depends on your water parameters. And so whenever you're setting up a tank, be very mindful of that. Be very mindful of what are my water parameters. Do I have hard water with a high pH, kind of like we do, or do I have softer water with a lower pH, or am I basically right in the middle? If you are naturally somebody who has water that's on the harder side with a higher pH, then you've got all your African cichlids. So in a 125, pretty much from the African cichlid perspective, the only fish you're probably not going to want to keep in there are frontosa. When they get full size, they're too big. in my opinion. But you could do an all-male peacock tank. If you're just new to cichlids, that would be one of the last things I would do, however, because that's the hardest to manage. You could do an Mbuna tank, staying with the less aggressive Mbuna. You could do, like we've done a Lake Tanganyika setup with like Cyprichromis and shell dwellers and rock dwellers. So those are options on the African cichlid side. If you have water that's maybe closer to a pH of 7 or slightly less, maybe like let's say 7.4, 7.5 or less, water's a little on the softer side, well then that opens up all the South and Central American cichlids and the West African cichlids. So you could be thinking about, do I want to do a bunch of Pistogramma? Do I want to do Crebensis from the West African side? Maybe you want to do some rams and some Apistos and heavily planted tank. You could go slightly larger and start looking at things like the Therichthes, like the firemouth type cichlids, and let's see what else. You could go even larger than that in a 6-foot tank. You could do things like, go maybe aggressive with your Jack Dempseys, and or you could do an Oscar and maybe a couple other types of. I've kept Oscars with electric blue Acara, with Severums. You could do a Geophagus tank, which would be really cool.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, so you got a lot of options there. Just do some. Take your time. Enjoy the process, do the research, make sure that what you're doing is something that you think you'll want to keep long term. What do you got?
Let's see. Oh, there are, oh man. Oh, Cheryl says, hey Cheryl. Oh man, let's see, no one wants to go into a bathroom remodel. Hope you've been pinning some ideas for a while. I've been pinning ideas for years.
See, we have a slight difference. Well, I don't know if it's a slight difference of opinion. We're kind of sort of on the same thing, but you're afraid I'm going to go extreme.
I am founded in reality.
And I'm
why don't
founded
you say
in,
why?
Well, okay.
We take full responsibility for that situation.
So what I would like, if I could have a bathroom, this is going to be so lame. Some of you are going to be like, all right, I'm leaving this whole situation. You ever gone to a Bass Pro Shops bathroom? If you've gone there, I'm not saying I want to recreate an exact replica of the Bass Pro Shops bathroom. That would be strange. But I like the rustic sort of look. And we don't have to have a urinal or anything like that. And again, we're just a normal bathroom, but rustic sort of look. Now, you're worried that I'm going to do what I did to the kitchen.
What we did. I take responsibility. We were like, oh, we want it nice and cozy, and we wanted the dark walls, and we just for some reason did dark cabinets,
No, we didn't do dark cabinets. We did black. I painted
dark.
The cabinets black,
and
then we
dark.
painted the walls like a brown. And basically, you couldn't see. It didn't matter how many lights you had in the kitchen. It's like
I think it was 24 hours, and what do we do?
It's like, hey, put the floodlights on. I can't find the food. It was about the dumbest thing, I think.
Remember when your aunt and uncle first saw it? They're
my aunt and uncle, they're professional painters. They're really good.
What were you thinking?
And they walked in the first time, they just looked around. They kind of shook their head like, when are you going to fix this? I'm like, I don't know. So when we redid some of the house, we called them out and they painted everything.
Lighter. So
yes,
that's all I'm saying. Whenever you have dark, you need to have light somewhere in this bathroom.
Oh, now you're an interior decorator too, huh?
There's no window. There's no outdoor light.
Yeah, but it's a bathroom, not a kitchen.
I realize that, but still, you have to keep in mind it's just going to suck all that darkness and make it a black hole. I'm just saying, you need contrast. Well, I'll keep you in reality.
Okay, that's the important thing.
The bathroom remodeler is going to be looking at you like, I don't think you want to do that.
Yeah.
Remember, this is also funny. At the same time we were doing the kitchen, we also painted the small bathroom.
Yes.
And
same color.
He wanted it medium to dark brown. It was very dark. It wasn't dark, but it was dark enough. And I remember when I went to get the paint at Lowe's, and I walked up and I looked at the swatch, 4 different colors, and I pointed to it was the third one, the third to the darkest. And I'm like, I want that one, please. And they're like, oh, well, what are you painting? And I said, a bathroom. And they're like, oh, is it the main? No, it's a guest bathroom. And he's like, does it have natural light? And I had to lie. I actually said yes. I said, yes, it does. It has natural light. I did, so he would sell me the paint. Because otherwise he was like, you don't want to do that. And I was like, no, there's a lot of natural light that goes
Pharmacist.
in
It's a
But you got
guy.
your dark bathroom. You liked the bathroom for a while.
Yeah, for about a day. Same
I thought
problem.
it was fun for a while.
It was actually okay.
It was very rustic.
Yeah. It probably could have just been an accent wall, maybe not the entire 4 walls of the bathroom, though. So the lighter door, I guess, helped a little bit.
You could find your way out.
Yeah, that's true. It's a small bathroom, so all I had to do was reach to the right and be like, all right, eventually I'll find the door.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, so anyway, Miss Fish Geek, glad you're here. Thanks for being here. And Victoria says, yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so we told you the whole story about
No, she
the
got
things.
that.
All right, that's good. And by the way, I've got your gobies. I only have 2 of them, so if that's what you wanted, then I have your gobies. Purple spots. Let's see, Anna, thank you so much for being a Primetime partner for the last 6 months. Howdy, Professor Primetime and Farmer Joe. How many of your fish have names like Chaz, the Oscar, and Timmy, the tilapia? Not that many anymore because Chaz and Timmy are both no longer with us. Neither is Roger. And I've just run into a horribly bad thing where every time I name fish, they're like, I'm going to be around long enough for you to fall in love with me, but not so long that, we're going to form a multi-decade relationship. We're just going to, and here's the worst part, is both Chaz, the Oscar, and Timmy, the tilapia. This is kind of weird. This is like, how people, when like the video game, the Madden football video game, where when the guy's on the cover, the next year he spends the rest of the season hurt. This kind of happened, except the fish spent the rest of its life dead. So, did a video. Timmy was in it. It was like the fish we love. Oh, he was just so beautiful. If you watch that, look at the thumbnail. It's like he looked just like that. I'm like, big old lips, just a happy-go-lucky fish. He left all the smaller fish alone, even though his mouth was like that big. I'm like, you're going to be in this video. He just posed perfectly for the thumbnail.
You imagine
literally,
he's like, I don't want to be in that video.
Within a day, he stopped eating, and within 3 days, he was dead. I'm like, I don't even know if the video had gone out yet.
The video cursed him.
Then the same thing happened to Chaz. Remember, Chaz was living life happy. Chaz was the silliest Oscar. He was like, hey man, he would lay on his side. He did this when he was a baby. He was like, here, I'm on my side. I'm just going to hang out here. And like, oh my gosh, Chaz is dead. No, I'm fine. Well, I went down there one morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, this time something's really wrong. And yeah, he was perfectly fine the night before. He was eating, he was happy, and then the next day, not there. So Roger, our Midas, our male Midas stick. Let me continue with this sad part of our story here.
And then let's switch the tone here.
So Roger and Ruby had like 1,000 babies. He was in the Midas cichlid species profile. The babies were picking off of him, eating the slime coat, kind of like discus do. Well, the babies wouldn't stop, and he wouldn't make them go away. So eventually he started laying on his side. I'm like, oh, wait, this is not cool. Roger, I'm going to put you in your own tank. And he never made it through. We don't have a lot of fish with names anymore.
So we've got Ruby still. She's
Ruby, yeah.
Yeah, and then we got Crush, orange Severum.
What's his name?
Crush.
Since when?
Since I named him Crush.
When did you name him that? Probably right before his wife died?
No, way before his wife died.
I don't know about this.
What do you call him?
Enjoy the. I don't call him anything. I call him the red Severum.
That's dumb. And then we've got King George.
He's made it.
Yes,
yeah, he's
our flagship fish. And who else? We've got Chuck.
Oh, well, Chuck, yeah. Here's a great story. You ready for this? We got to tell you this one. This is classic.
Fast,
okay, I promise.
We got to get to more questions.
First night, we're away. We made a stop off before we got down to Aquashella. The next morning, her sister calls, crying. I can hear her, and she's not even on speakerphone. Your fish is dead.
What's the matter?
And Joanna's like, settle down. Which fish? Like, I killed one of your fish already. She's like, it's a brown one. It's kind of flat.
Yeah,
he's just propped up against the wall, and he's dead.
So trying to figure out which
So I'm
tank.
listening, half listening. I'm like, is it Chuck? She's like, shut up. I can't hear what she's saying. She's all upset. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Chuck. She's like, so she's trying to explain, okay, which tank? Now, my sister-in-law doesn't know tank sizes. She's like, it's in a small one with the other ones, and it's brown, and it's flat, and it's dead.
I'm like, oh, that's Chuck.
I'm like, that's just Chuck.
He's fine.
He just sits there. He doesn't never moves. I've never seen that fish swim in 2 years. And when he eats, he then props himself up. I think it helps with his digestion. He just props himself up on an angle.
Yucky.
Chuck was fine. So yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Chuck, you need to see Chuck. That was in like part
Chuck's
5 or something of the Fish Room video tour. Yeah. Rob, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey J&J, my betta had no physical signs of disease, but eventually passed away even after a full course of API general cure. Do I need to tear down the and disinfect this 10-gallon tank. I appreciate you guys. So there's two ways to look at it. I mean, we don't know what happened with the betta, right? We don't know, did the betta stop eating? Was it bloated? Did it have any signs of a bloat? That stuff sometimes doesn't survive all that well, and sometimes it can actually be species specific. Like some fish are more prone to that than others. If it were ick, I would just, one of the things you can do is you can run that tank, run the temperatures a little bit higher, like around 86, 87, 88, and that will usually kill off most internal parasites. I've done that before where I've just put the meds in, keep the tank at a higher temperature for a few weeks, and then basically just roll with it. You could certainly break it down. It's only a 10 gallon, so you could break it down but if you do that, keep in mind, if you break that tank down with the intent of sterilizing the tank, that means your substrate's going in the garbage. You're going to buy new substrate. Any fake decorations, whether it's fake plants or, castles or whatever, that gets a 10% bleach solution. You can 10% bleach the inside of the tank, and then your filter breakdown, you pull all your filter media out, 10% bleach that thing as well. The filter, if it's a hang-on back, if it's a sponge filter, those things can just be rinsed out. Once they dry, they're fine. And that's the other thing too, is I would leave, if you're going to do that, leave everything that was in the tank out to completely dry for a week or so, because the process of drying kills a lot of parasites, a lot. So that's what I would do. But if you're going to leave it running, you can. People do it. Obviously, there's a bigger chance of something happening, but yeah.
Guess who's here?
Who's here?
EJ Fishes, 76, Eric.
No way, dude. Are you going to be at the... Eric, are you going to be at the Greenwater thing next Sunday?
Bring
it's been
Mike.
a while since you've been there. Yeah, bring Mike.
Bring
oh my
Mike,
gosh.
Jim,
We got to get the
wow.
old crew back together here.
Yeah, geez, the Friday night crew.
Yep.
Oh, good times.
Good
It was
times.
such good times.
Good times.
Fish fan 20 gallon long, did you see? Thanks for the super chat.
I sent you 2 photos of my bathroom for your inspiration. I can't wait to see it. Maybe it will inspire. I hope so.
Can we do a fish tank floor? I mean, it's already
tank
if
floor?
it's already leaking, that'd probably be pretty easy.
Well, I don't know if we want to make that any worse. Just, because. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Matthew says, I sent you a movie quote.
Oh.
Well, say it again because...
In chat. Oh.
I don't know where it
it
is. And I've been doing a bad job of, this chat thing is skipping around. I've just kind of let it do its own thing.
Will we be in OCA 2022 from Chickadee? Yeah.
That's the plan.
Right?
Yeah, OCA is the Ohio Cichlid Association Extravaganza. That happens in November.
It's crazy times right there.
Like that. Like it a lot. It's a smaller thing. It's not like an Aquashella. It's not designed to be that. But they have a small vendor room and a bunch of people selling fish out of their hotel rooms. It's a unique thing. And a lot of speakers, like high-end, very desirable presentations that happen there. So
yeah.
That I usually try to catch at least 2 or 3 of the presentations.
Wow. Oink Master Supreme Forever says, as a fish keeping novice, jumping straight from a 5-gallon to a 125-gallon was tough. I can imagine.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a...
That's 2 totally different worlds, but yeah. Rock on.
It's cool, man. It's cool.
Oh, Eric's not going to make it.
That's not the answer. That is not the answer we were looking for.
That's right. You will make it.
And what tank size for 2 Severums? I go 6-foot tank. 75, you got a pair, that's fine, but they are definitely going to, if they pair up, they're going to make sure that there aren't any fish around their area. 2 males, generally, I've had bad luck trying to keep them in a 75. Even a 4-foot 150 didn't work, so 6-foot tank would probably be best, and it might be better if you're not looking for a pair to do more than that. Because I've done fish room tours where people have had Severums, a lot of them, like a group of, I don't know, it was 8 or 10 of them in a 125, and that seemed to work. They did okay with each other. Marlon says, first time making it live. Thanks for all your great advice. Well, glad you're here.
Oh, fun. Welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Welcome to Wednesday nights.
Wednesday nights are the time for us.
Here's an interesting one from Matt. What do you prefer between Seachem Renew and Carbon to get rid of tannins, or even Purigen?
I don't use either. Don't use either for any reason. And not that that's a bad thing. I mean, if you want to use it, it's fine. So there's 2 things going on there. The tannins I absolutely love. And I enjoy the tannins as long as they are willing to stick around. And you'll be surprised, the number one thing to get rid of tannins is water changes, because we try to keep tannins. Like when we throw driftwood in the first time and water turns brown, we're like, hey, look at that, it's a dark water, black water tank. This is cool. Mm-hmm. But over the course of a couple months, it all goes away because we water change. If we're doing a 30 to 50% water change in that tank, it just removes the tannins. So the other thing you could do if you haven't added the wood yet is, if it's a smaller piece like one of the ones we gave away like this, you boil that, most of the tannins go away. And then if you want to use the Purigen to remove it, you could certainly do that. I don't have a preference because, like I said, I don't use chemical filtration in any of our tanks. Most of them are just sponge filters, and the hang-on backs are only there for mechanical filtration. So that's the story. What else you got over there?
From Kraken, it just jumped.
It jumped.
I was looking for centerpiece fish for my 40. Would you think a pair of Bolivian rams or German rams?
Sure, either one. The German blue rams like it a little warmer than the Bolivian rams do. So Bolivian rams, I've had no problems keeping them at 78-ish degrees. And with our harder water with a higher pH, the German blues do not do well in our water parameters. They don't like our high pH of 8.2. They do not like our water hardness of 10 degrees GH and KH, which I know you're quite upset about that.
Yeah.
So if you've got water that's closer to neutral, slightly softer, and you can keep those temps up to 82, 83 at least, then go German blue. They got much better color than the Bolivians, but I love the Bolivian rams as well. They are always walking around or swimming around with their dorsal fins held up high and showing off. And the German blues do that as well. But so it just depends on your water parameters. But both will do fine in that tank. Hold on.
I don't think...
What?
Matthew, you said that we missed it again. I don't see it. I did not see a movie quote.
Well,
do you think it's...
remember back in the day, was it Whip? No, I don't know who it was. Someone kept sending a movie quote, and it kept getting blocked because it had a questionable word in there, and then the chat just... in context it was fine, but YouTube was catching it as like, oh, this word is not appropriate for your channel.
Yeah, so we didn't see that. We were
so
not
we never
seeing
said. He's like, we kept sending it, never saw. Yeah. So if it's borderline, that's probably why. I'm not saying it is, but it could be.
Yeah, because it's not coming through. Either. I don't see it. If anybody sees it, let us know.
Nancy's got a good question. Best way to connect pieces of Mopani wood? She said super glue ? Super glue gel. Mopani, connecting them.
Yeah, I get it. I would say yes, super glue would be my first choice, and you're going to want something in between the super glue, because chances are you're not going to get a really good fit between different pieces. So you can use, people use paper towels. People use...
Wait, paper towels to connect the wood?
Little blobs of paper towels, like a few folded pieces. I know.
And then glue them?
And then glue them.
Oh, okay. Well, that part you left out. I'm like, a paper towel. I missed it.
Like a buffer, like in between.
I got you.
And then also like filter media, or even like, I think you can buy like cigarette filters, like that cotton sort of stuff. A lot of people use to create like kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Because two pieces of wood are probably not going to completely like meld together. So you need something kind of puffy in the middle. But yeah, super glue and some sort of something or another. That won't disintegrate immediately. So filter floss, I've used filter floss before.
Is that going to be totally visible though?
Not really. No, if you're sticking two pieces of wood together. Okay. And then of course you got to think about keep in mind where you're going to put your plants, or you're going to attach and stuff. So you can totally camouflage. Yep. That sort of stuff.
Second Floor Aquatics.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't cut you off. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, J&J, that's us. We had a great time visiting with you guys. Thank you again for bringing out the pink shirts. So glad you guys like the rocks. Who knows what Shannon will do next year? By the way, large size shirts for you both, right?
Correct. Oh,
you've got those shirts.
They're hilarious.
As soon as when they come in, we got to wear them. The shirt just made me laugh. I'm like, that's hilarious.
It's so funny.
Thank you. And it was great hanging out with you, too. I'm glad you were able to come that Friday night, hang out, and spend the weekend hanging out at Aquashella. That was awesome.
It's good times.
Let's see. Delta Charlie says, all right, I just dumped API Icure and aquarium salt into my 40-gallon with green neons, coolies, and Anubias. Remove the mystery snails first. Yeah, mystery snails aren't going to carry the ick anyway. But just like I said, be careful with the salt. Don't do any more than like a tablespoon per 8 gallons with the Anubias and with the coolies and the green neons. None of those fish particularly love salt. So I would just be very careful with that. And if they really start to look like they're not handling the salt well, partial water change might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, Matthew confirmed that it's the word that one uses when somebody else's life ends. So that was the same word I think that got blocked.
Okay.
You know,
well,
if somebody brings the end of somebody's life, that word.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, YouTube just says you're not going through. So
I
yeah,
guess so,
we won't get that quote.
It's very interesting. All right, let me see. We got some stuff here. Hold on. Oh, I can't see.
What are you trying to read?
Right there.
Teresa?
Yeah, Teresa. Joanna, do you have a logo for the Smallscape? That's right.
Well, it's not the logo. I'm still working on the logo. It is the shirt.
So here's a story. She has these shirts, but you haven't really gotten like an order through. So that's the Smallscape.
I actually can't see it because my screen is blocked.
Yeah, so we'll hold it up. Yeah, hold it up. It's there. So yeah, and you've got a lot of intricate things going on here. You've got a shrimp, and you've got
I have a lot of details built into here because I need depth.
So
shrimp,
at some point, we'll have to get those things. That was like a prototype.
Plant.
And now we have to get them ordered. Yep.
In a globe.
In a globe. JK Fish Keeping. Any new fish? Have we gotten any new fish lately? No, I don't think so because we were gone, and I don't usually like to get fish. Yeah. So that's a pro tip for you. Never get new fish right before you leave because A, you should be quarantining them for 4 weeks, and you can't observe them if you're gone. And B, even if they are quarantined and look healthy, sometimes they just go like, hey, you know what? I think I've lived a long, happy life in your aquarium with these particular water parameters. I think I'm going to die. And they start off this cascade that we were talking about earlier. So I don't tend to bring in any new fish unless I'm going to be around for at least a month. So
yeah, and that's because I had little scapes all set up, ready to go. And then since we were going for so long, there's no way I was, especially a tiny tank. You don't want to set that up.
So we've got some stuff in the hopper, if you will, some fish hoppers, but nothing new right now. Let's see here. Bayside says, better to breed plecos with or without other fish in the tank. Depends on what the other fish are. Baby plecos are very, very tiny. So if I were going to be breeding plecos with other fish, they'd have to be Rasbora size, Endler size would be fine. Even you get to the size of a full female guppy, I'm telling you, those baby bristlenose are so small, I wouldn't put it past her to eat. I mean, obviously they're not going to put a huge dent in them, but if you're trying to breed guppies and bristlenose together, you might lose some of the bristlenose fry. So that's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes I'll breed bristlenose and shrimp, like the Neocaridina shrimp. But if you want to maximize your fry survival, I would just do the bristlenose alone. Okay, here we go. Nancy says, since Flip Aquatics quarantines fish for 30 days, won't 2 weeks at my house work well? It works better, but and they do. Flip Aquatics, that's one of the reasons why I think they have pretty positive feedback from their customers is they are quarantining those fish for an extended period of time before they wind up at your house. However, that being said, they're still being shipped. So if I'm looking at it from my perspective, do I trust that they're doing what they say they're going to do? Absolutely. Am I willing, regardless of the source, am I willing to put new fish in my established tank? No, not without the quarantine. You know, your question was, you're still going to quarantine it for 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, that's the bare minimum, especially if you know the source is quarantined. But would I still put them out in the quarantine for 4 weeks? Yeah, because what's the 2 extra weeks? And they're still being shipped. They're still undergoing stress. You just never know. Never 100% sure, but it's certainly better. Nancy, and thank you very much for the little sticker. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sneak peek. Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah,
it's a little eyeball.
It is pretty cool.
Matthew says, I have a question and I need help.
Sure.
I don't see your question, Matthew.
I mean, that thing came through, so just send your question and you keep an eye out for it, and we'll see what we can do.
We try and get all the questions we can.
Whip said, wow, this must be important. Whip sent it 3 times. I just bought a bucket of Northfin krill flakes to add more variety to my fish menu. Cool. They seem less than best pleased with the new brand. Should I be concerned? No, whenever you're switching fish foods, there's going to be a conversion period where they're like, hey, this isn't the same texture or the same flavor that we're used to. And so sometimes fish will maybe not take to it right away. So I have the opposite problem. Whenever there have been times when I've run out of Northfin, I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go to my backup foods. And I know I'm just going to have to feed lightly, and some of the fish will eat it and some won't. And then once I go back, everything is fine again. So no, I wouldn't be overly concerned. I would just feed small amounts and get them converted over, and it should be fine. Keith, thank you very much for the super chat. Been thinking about mystery snails, but being a cautious man by nature, should I hold off until the mystery is solved? You know, that is an enigma wrapped up in a mystery, sandwiched with a contradiction. So it's like walking on the edge of a straight razor and surviving. Anybody know that movie quote? That's old school right there. It actually comes from the quote that I just said. Hey man, it's like, I don't think that was the exact quote. Hey man, it's like a mystery wrapped up in an enigma. Anybody got it?
This is my life.
Yep. I know. It's very annoying for you. But anyway, I say go with the mystery snails. Someone's got to get that quote, but it's an old movie, and I don't have a lot of faith that people are going to be able to get that one.
I got Matthew's question. You ready?
Okay, yes, I'm
ready. Ready. All right. Oh my gosh, it keeps jumping. What the heck? I just got a 20-gallon that's in... Oh, wait. Oops, wrong question. Hold on. I'm going to get to that one then. Oh, jeez, it keeps moving. All right. The bubbles from my sponge filter are staying at the surface and not popping. No surface algae or floaters, not soap from hands. I did a big water change, but nothing. Just bubbles hanging out on the top?
Yeah, so sometimes that can be one of two things: protein or oils in your water. So that could be coming from your fish food. Maybe you fed, I fed some frozen krill and I didn't rinse it. So that could be often it's one of those two things. So it could be something coming from your food that's maybe a little bit oily. It's got a little extra oil. It's got a little extra protein. That can certainly contribute to it. So just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on what you're feeding and see if it's got like a smell to it as well. So aquafish, yes, you can treat fish in a tub. Yeah. The problem is you're not going to be able to see the fish as easily as in an aquarium. So that would be an issue. Whenever you're using a tub to treat fish, that's why I would never use a tub as a quarantine tank, because I can't see what's going on there.
Only top down.
Yeah, only top down. That's Echo Delta. Scarface? No, but that's not a bad guess.
No, it's not.
It's not a bad guess. And I don't really have any other really good quotes from that movie.
Good.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, the other one was, hey, man, I want to get some mangoes. I'm going to go get some mangoes. Man, that was a tiger. There was a tiger in there, man. That's all I got. It's really obscure. I don't think anybody's going to get it.
Okay.
It's like walking on the edge of a straight razor and surviving is probably the most popular quote in that movie.
All right, this is from Jay. I just got a 20-gallon that's in the process of being cycled, going on week 3. Should I...
Oh, wow, Brett got it. Hold on, sorry. Brett! Dude, you got it. Apocalypse Now. That's awesome. I'm so proud.
Rock on.
So proud. Somebody...
What's the one... smells like napalm in the morning.
You smell that? Oh, oh my gosh, that's the same movie.
Yeah.
That's the number one quote. You smell that? You smell that? Smells like victory.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that was a huge miss on my part. Dude, where's my car? That was a good guess, too.
I've not seen that one. I've not seen that.
Yep.
All right, this is from Jay.
Okay.
I just got a 20-gallon that's in the process of being cycled, going on week 3. Should I get a quarantine tank for my first fish, or can I put it in my main tank?
If your main tank is the first fish going into that tank, then you can use your main tank. The only downsides are if it's planted, obviously you create a potential issue there with meds that have to go in to a planted tank, or if it's a large tank, right? So if it was a larger tank, now you're dealing, if something goes wrong, you're going to be dumping a lot more meds into that new larger tank, as opposed to, I've just got a 5-gallon or a 10-gallon that's got a sponge filter, a heater, and a light, and that's all I have to worry about. So, but yeah, your new tank can be the quarantine tank. Now, if I put any additional fish in there in a couple of weeks, those go in a quarantine tank. Let's see here. Joe says, good evening. I'm late. Just wanted to say hi. What's up? Glad you're here, even if it's late. Yes, Robert Duvall. M&C Aquatics. Suggestions for tank mates for Tiger Limia. Love Tiger Limia. We've got them in a 20 gallon. They breed. It took forever for them to breed. But once they did, they went crazy for us. Love. If you're not familiar with Tiger Limia, look them up. They are great fish. They are live bearers. They are kind of like a greenish, yellowish hue. They get these vertical stripes. I would almost treat them kind of like guppies. So if you can keep a fish with a guppy, you can probably keep with a Tiger Limia, which means all your smaller neons, your other live bearer type fish, probably guppies are fine. Endlers, cory cats, yeah, there's a bunch. You've got a bunch of options. Emperor Tetra. How many water changes is necessary with fluval stratum and is CO2 needed for plants with fluval stratum substrate? So CO2?
Is it needed?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No, CO2 is not necessary with beginner plants. So I mean, or the common plants you'd find like your swords, your Java moss, Java fern, Anubias, crypts, jungle valves of all kinds, bulbitis.
Yeah, it's not based on the substrate. It's based on the plants. And also some of the beginner plants or easier plants, low to medium light plants, will just do better with CO2 and more light and maybe just get more color or just be like more robust sort of thing. But other than, nope.
Yeah, and so with the fluval stratum water change, I would just see where your water is being buffered at with the fluval stratum. If it's stable, then I wouldn't go crazy. And if it's stable and it is also better, it's what your fish would normally want, then that's the most important thing. So you don't have to just immediately start doing a bunch of water changes. You need to see where it's going to be stable in terms of pH.
James, my serious aquascaping buddy, says all plants need CO2.
Yeah, except we've never run it before.
Well, your tanks.
Well, technically he's right though. All plants do need
Yes,
CO2.
that's
the
joke.
funny part. Well, I'm a little slow. It's getting late and I had a long day. Hold on, I saw a good one here. Hold on. Oh, Cooper. What ppm, parts per million, does ammonia start to become lethal to fish? If you've got registerable, how can I say that? If there's ammonia being registered on your test kit, I would seek to get rid of that because if left in the tank, even at small concentrations, it is going to be not a good thing. But what you're looking for is the unionized ammonia. So that is the dangerous stuff. And unfortunately, test strips read total ammonia nitrogen and not usually the unionized. That being said, I did a video on why your test kit might be lying to you when it comes to ammonia. I would check that out because in that video, we discuss how to separate the two, total ammonia nitrogen from the unionized ammonia, which is your dangerous stuff. But if it's unionized, if it's UIA, then if it's in there, it could be very bad for your fish. JE, pandacories or bettas as a first fish? Why not both? If you've got the tank size for it, they would probably get along just fine. If I were picking one, I'd probably do the betta because your cory cats are just going to be at the bottom, and once they get established, sometimes they're not as active as people would like. Mm-hmm. So, but if you've got at least with the pandacories, I don't know. Well, pandacories too, you want to keep them in a group. So ideally it would be like a 20 gallon. Could you get away with like a 15, which is basically a 20 that's shorter? Sure, you could do that. But if you've got something like a smaller tank, like 10 gallons, 5 gallons, I'd go with the betta. I probably wouldn't do the cory cats because, like I said, the group is going to be the issue.
Larry Puffer OG, what's up, guys? Quick question. What's the best way to get rid of blackbeard algae, BBA?
Well, what we do, we control blackbeard algae numerous ways. So way number one, control your light. We leave our lights on 9 hours a day, split 2.5 hours in the morning, 6.5 hours at night. Control your nitrate concentrations, 20 parts per million or less from your previous water change to the current water change at all times, so 20 parts per million or less. You want to if possible, if you don't have a planted tank, I always do a gravel vac. That's going to help tremendously control your nitrates because you don't have fish waste breaking down in your tank. If you do have plants, then obviously the gravel vac is not going to be as necessary because you're just going to be removing the nutrients that the plants utilize. Thing number 3 is there aren't many organisms that will eat blackbeard. I've had good luck with mystery snails. However, a single mystery snail or even a half a dozen mystery snails in a tank probably isn't going to work. We used to put blackbeard covered plants in our 20-gallon long mystery snail breeding tank where there were probably 150 mystery snails in there. They took care of it, but that was because of the stocking levels, and they were just munch, munch, munch all over the place. The fish that is most likely to consume blackbeard algae is going to be your Siamese algae eater. Don't get those confused with the flying fox because the flying fox definitely doesn't, at least in our experience, hasn't touched it. And the flying fox, by the way, gets fairly large and it starts to act not like a red-tailed shark, but it can be fairly assertive. So just be aware of that. If you want a more simple solution, you can take the things that have blackbeard algae on them, lower the water level so that those things are now exposed to the air. Take some hydrogen peroxide, spray it on the surface where the blackbeard algae exists, if that's possible. Leave it for about 10 or 15 minutes. Fill the tank back up. That blackbeard algae will usually die. It'll turn pink, and then stuff, usually fish or snails, will eat that or it'll just fall off. So those are some options. Now, I don't freak out about blackbeard algae as much as maybe some people do because we've learned to control the growth using controlling lights, controlling nitrate, and doing our water changes. Okay. All right, I think we'll do like 1 or 2 more questions, and then we're going to call it a night because it's getting late. Right. Uncle Johnny said apocalypse now too, so cool.
You got it. All right, I got a couple here. Hold on.
All right.
James says, all right, so this will clarify. With a nutrient-rich substrate, just jumped, especially stratum, I do daily large changes for at least 2 weeks. Stratum dumps a bunch of ammonia that can make plants melt more. I don't add livestock for 2 weeks. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't use a lot of those.
Yeah.
The stratum or the.
That's good information. James knows his stuff. So
heck yeah, he does. And then wait, there was another one I wanted to grab here. Hold up. This is from. Oh my gosh, it's jumping. Even though I'm holding it here. All right, this is from HEPA Aquatics. Hi, enjoying your streaming as usual. I'm watching the stream on my TV, and is a light. Oh. And there is a light just above Joanna's head in one of the shelves that flickering. It is okay. Oh, is it okay? Are you asking if it's okay? Is there something flickering?
No, it's not flickering here.
Maybe it's just my halo that's flickering.
I don't know.
Get it?
I don't see anything flickering.
I'm an angel.
Weird.
Get it.
You got a flickering light above your head.
He didn't get the joke.
I didn't get it. Radio says, I have a 29-gallon with bristlenose and guppies. They both breed nonstop. Got too many. Neither are interested in eating babies. That's good to hear. There's somebody who's doing the thing, and yeah. So I mean, who knows? Maybe the female guppies, even if they had like one, it's still going to fill their stomach for probably a couple days. So if your bristlenose, as they often do, kick out 25, 30 babies, and you've got multiples doing that, you might not even notice. Even if it was happening, I'm not saying it is, but even if it were, you wouldn't know it, and your bristlenose aren't going to eat any guppies because that's just not that's not how they roll. That's not how they roll, G. All right, everybody. I think we are going to call it a night because it's getting late. Keith, been a member for 14 months. Thank you so much. I am not an actor. I'm a movie star. I have no idea what that is. Do you? I am not an actor. I'm a movie star. It's a quote. I wish I knew what it was.
I try and guess like who the type of person is that would say that.
It's a person.
I don't know. Tell us really fast.
Yeah. Or leave it in the thing, and then people who watch the replay, they're going to have to get it.
That's true.
How it is. Yep. All right, everybody. We're going to call it a night because it's getting late, and I'm sure everybody needs to get to bed. But if we didn't answer your question, bring it next week, and we'll try to make sure that we get them answered. Thank you to all of our moderators for holding down the fort. Thank you to all the super chats and stickers, and hopefully we didn't miss anybody. I think we've got them all. and all the members that have been hanging out with us and celebrating their milestones. Appreciate that. And we will see you next week, same time, same place. Bring those questions and we'll see you again. Have a great rest of the week.
See ya.
Bye-bye.